Okay, so first and foremost, I'm Ming from Topliners Club, and I'll be your host today. Topliners Club is a licensed bespoke travel agency in Singapore. And what we do is that we customize all the itineraries for you, as well as recommend the most suitable experience and accommodations for our customers based on their interests and requirements. Okay, I also like to introduce Julian. Okay, Julian is my business partner in this company and also the co-host for tonight. So he'll be helping us with all the back-end work. Yep. Next, I would like to introduce our guest speaker all the way from Zurich, Miss Catharina. Hello, Catharina.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. So Catharina is a veteran travel professional running a Swiss travel company called Swiss Epic Tours, and is our working partner in Switzerland. And today we are also very honored to have Oliver, who is based in Singapore from the Switzerland Tourism Board. Hello, Oliver.
Hello, Ming. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for the invite. It's a big pleasure to be part of this webinar today, and I'm looking forward to share some information with you.
Yeah. So Oliver has actually lived in both Switzerland and is now currently in Singapore. So it's 8:30 for him as well. Okay. He has lived in these two countries for a number of years. So he will definitely be sharing some unique perspective with us. And don't be surprised if you catch any Singlish in him. Yeah. With the Layla law, I think he's pretty quite localized already. Yeah.
Well, after a few years, yes.
Okay, so the Topliners Web Travel Series are actually bite-sized travel webinars that we have designed. These are sharply focused, casual and candid. We planned it for this style. And we will endeavor to keep each session within a maximum of 1 hour as much as we can. Okay, today will be quite challenging because we have 4 seasons to go through, a lot of information that we want to share with you. So we will try our best. Okay, this Switzerland travel series will be run on a bi-weekly basis, and we will try to keep to the Wednesday, on the Wednesday night, same timing. So every 2 weeks, you know, there's one Switzerland webinar coming up for you. Yeah. So in this first episode of the Switzerland travel series, we will be chatting about the things you can see or do in the 4 seasons of Switzerland. And most importantly, some of the things you need to take note of in each season. So the biggest question we always get from our customers is always, when is the best season for travel in Switzerland? So I would like to say there's actually no best season because Switzerland is actually an all year round destination that you can go to. But however, there is definitely 1 or 2 seasons that is more suitable for you. Okay, depending on what you want to see, do or experience. So today we hope to address that for you. And in the next episode on the 16th of September, which is also on the 8:30 p.m. slot, we will be talking about the best mountains to visit in Switzerland, where we will be sharing about some of the most well-known mountains in Switzerland, as well as those that are more off the beaten path. Okay, then we will compare them for you and to let you know which you think will be more suitable for you. So stay tuned to our Facebook page, Topliners Club page, for more updates. And today, do feel free to ask any questions during the session. And we will try to stop after every season to answer some questions that are related to that season. And because we are striving to keep the session short and sweet, we will try our best to address all questions relating to the topic we have set for today. And if you have any other questions about Switzerland, feel free to write to us, whether it's through email, our personal WhatsApp, or whichever way you can reach us. And we will try to answer them as promptly as we can. So details can be found in our website, toplinersclub.com. Okay, so enough of my talking. Now I would like to have Catharina to continue the session. Yeah, probably you can share the slides first.
Yeah,
Catharina,
thank you very
please.
much. Thank you very much. Okay, I think. Okay, I have shared my screen with you guys. Can you see it? Ming, is it fine like this?
Yes, it's fine.
I think
we
it
can
should
see
be
it.
visible for
Yes.
everybody. Okay, good. So One more time, I would like to welcome you also in name of, well, in my own name, of course, and our company, Swiss Epic Tours. I'm very pleased that I may introduce you a little bit Switzerland and give you some information about the 4 seasons here in Switzerland. As Ming said, every time of the year actually is good to visit our beautiful country, but it's totally up to you which time of the year is best for you. And I hope you can discover that today during our series. So discover where to go and what to do and what is the best time of the year to do so. That is the objective for today. Now, before we start with that, I will give you a short introduction about Switzerland in general. But I would like to know actually from you, the participants, what do you think about when you think of Switzerland? Maybe you can write down in the chat box, as Ming mentioned, what do you think about when you speak about Switzerland, or when you are planning to go on holidays maybe to Switzerland? What comes to your mind? What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about Switzerland? So you may go ahead and write it down in the chat box. Then we will have a look what you think about our country. Give you a couple of minutes or maybe a couple of seconds to write down something.
Expensive, I saw somebody say expensive.
Expensive?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alps, yes. Hiking. Chocolates.
Yeah.
Mountains, Swiss standard of living. Wow, yes, that is the lifestyle that everyone strives towards. Your frown, yes, mountain trees, no mountain. So I think we have some experts here who know about Switzerland.
Maybe some of you have been to Switzerland already. If you know Mount Titlis, for example, this mountain with eternal snow, actually, where you can even go skiing in summertime. It's one of the beautiful mountains we have in central Switzerland. Okay.
That's an expert.
Yeah. Wow, okay. Yeah, we have some interesting answers, yeah?
Yeah.
Chocolates, clocks, yeah.
Yeah, so I will share the next slide with you because most of you have actually mentioned already the main things about Switzerland. Look, typical Swiss. So you mentioned the Alps, the Swiss Alps, of course, the mountains, the chocolates, yes, the watches, the Swiss knife, also the Swiss Army knife, very famous here in Switzerland. Of course, we have the lakes, we have the mountains with snow, maybe the railway system. You thought about traveling by train in Switzerland is a very good option to discover our beautiful country. And of course, maybe the most famous mountain in all Switzerland, the Matarvon Mountain, located in the south of our country. So these images here on this slide, it's typical Switzerland, what most of the people think about when they think about Switzerland. But of course, a part of this, there is much more to discover. And I hope we can give you a little bit of insight in that also web sessions. Good. Before we start about the 4 seasons, just a short introduction about Switzerland itself. We will talk a little bit about the location, the geography, the climate. It's a little bit different here in Switzerland than what you are used to in Singapore. I know in Singapore the weather is actually good all year round. Warm weather, temperatures between 25, 35 degrees. Well, in Switzerland it becomes normally in wintertime a little bit cooler, and we will speak about that when we come to the winter season. Then a little bit about cantons, demographic and the languages, and then we will continue to the 4 seasons. But first, the location. So Switzerland is located in the center of Europe. You can see here this country, we have painted it in red, and it's located, as I said, in the center of Europe, and we make border with 5 different countries. So here in the north, we have Germany, here we have France, here we have Italy, then we have here Austria, and here very, very close from Switzerland, we have the Principate, the state of Liechtenstein. So 5 countries in our surroundings. That makes Switzerland also a very attractive location to visit, because if you are in one of those neighboring countries, why not spending a day or 2 or a weekend also in Switzerland? Just crossing the border, because there is so much to do and you can have so much fun and so much to discover in Switzerland itself. So this is where we are located. There are actually 2 direct flights every day under normal circumstances from Singapore to Switzerland. And the good thing about these flights is that mostly they are night flights. So that means you depart in Singapore in the evening and you would arrive to mostly Zurich airport, our main airport in the north of Switzerland, in the morning, which means you can still enjoy the full day once you arrive to Switzerland. So I think that mostly for our guests today from Singapore, that can be something quite interesting. The other main airport we have in Switzerland is located in Geneva. So Zurich is here in the north of Switzerland and Geneva is located here in the west, the southwest of Switzerland. Okay. Then regarding the climate, as I was saying, so we come to speak about that a little bit more when we speak about the 4 seasons. Many people think about Switzerland, when we speak about Switzerland, that it's cold and snowing here all year round. Well, that is already a little bit a fairy tale we can take away. That's not the case. The summer times can be really, really very beautiful with temperatures over 30 degrees even. Of course, in wintertime, we will have a lot of snow, but we have these 4 seasons. So we have summer, we have autumn, we have the winter, and we have the spring. So that's a little bit different than what our guests from Singapore and I think also from South America are used to. So more in detail about this a little bit later on. Then maybe interesting for you to know the highest points in Switzerland. I was thinking that could be quite interesting. We have a lot of mountains, but also I could say lowlands, a lot of valleys, of course. Now the highest mountains are located in southern Switzerland, in this area mainly. And the highest point is above 4,500 meters. Then we are in the area of Monte Rosa, above 4,500 meters. The lowest area in Switzerland is located in the area of Ticino. That is an Italian-speaking area here in the south of Switzerland, near the Lago Maggiore, so the Lake Maggiore, which makes the border with Italy. Then the lowest point of Switzerland is approximately 193 meters above sea level. So you can see we have all these differences between 200 meters up to 4,500 meters. So that is quite a big difference. What kind of people live in Switzerland? Of course, a lot of people who are originally from Switzerland itself, but Switzerland is also quite open to people from other countries. Just to give you an idea, in total we have approximately 8.5 million inhabitants, and approximately 25% of the population are not Swiss citizens. So they do not hold the Swiss passport. They come mostly from the countries in our surroundings. So Germany, France, Italy, and also quite some from Spain and Portugal. The biggest cities are located in the north and in the south. So Zurich, as I said, here in the north, with approximately 450,000 inhabitants. And in the south, we have the city of Geneva with approximately 500,000 inhabitants. So those are the 2 main cities, although our capital is Bern. Bern is located in the center of the country, more or less here, where we can see already, where we are already close to the Bernese Alps. And Bern has approximately 160,000 inhabitants. So much less actually than Zurich and Geneva, but it is our capital because in Bern is located the central government. And that brings me very, very, very shortly to another subject, which is the cantons. In total, we have 26 cantons and half cantons in Switzerland, and all these cantons here on this image have a different color. So here in the north, we have the canton of Zurich with the capital Zurich. Then we go a little bit more southwards. Then we have here the canton of Bern, also with our capital, and the Italian-speaking canton here in the south of our country called Ticino, and so on. So in total, we have 26 of these. Now, to understand a little bit what these cantons are, they have a lot of autonomy. So many cantons have their own police, they have their own school system, they have their own language or dialect, very important. Many of them have their own banks and so on. And for us as travelers, of course, what is very interesting about Switzerland, all these different cantons have their own, mostly their own traditions, their own specialities, their own typical things to visit, about what to do and where to go. So that's quite interesting. Just imagine, for example, if you travel through Switzerland, in the north, the language spoken there is the Swiss German. If you go towards the Geneva area, then the language is French. If you go to the south, the language is Italian. And so you have, when you cross basically borders between these different cantons, you have the feeling maybe you enter a completely different country. So that makes the Swiss experience a very diverse experience, because you have so many different things to do in a small country, and also so many different landscapes, so many different styles of the buildings, for example, whether you are in one canton or in the other canton. So actually, if you want to travel to Switzerland and come on holidays, it can feel like you experience different countries just inside of one country, which is Switzerland. So there is a lot of diversity in our country. I think it's quite interesting.
So just to quickly interrupt you a little bit, Catharina. Folks, so the takeaway for us in terms of local terms is number one, because Switzerland is located in such a great location in the heart of Europe, that actually allows you very good connectivity to other parts of the Europe. Okay, and we actually have 2 direct flights from Singapore to Switzerland, Zurich. Okay, and that is the Singapore Airlines as well as the Swiss Air. So these are 2 airlines that are flying direct daily into Zurich. Okay, and it's basically a red-eye flight. So we depart about 11 or even 1 a.m. There are, I think, 2 or 3 flights a day. And then you arrive in the morning in Switzerland, in Zurich. So basically you have the entire day to tour, and you don't get the jet lag because you get a very good rest on the plane. So there's one very good advantage of flying direct into Zurich. And the other thing is that, like Catharina mentioned, because of the cantons, okay, and all the bordering countries, like the big countries like France, Germany, as well as Italy, these cantons that are near to these borders are actually very heavily influenced in terms of the culture and the food, of those countries. So for those that are really short of time, basically by just flying into Zurich, or rather to Switzerland, and touring around this country, you are as if you are experiencing various cultures in just one country. Yeah, so that's another advantage of actually touring in Switzerland itself. Yeah. Okay, over to you. Sorry for the interruption.
No problem at all. Very good. That's correct. What Ming is saying, absolutely. So then we come to our main subject of today, which is the 4 seasons. And we have collected here some beautiful images of Switzerland. Just for your information, on top we can see on the left hand side Gruyère, located not far away from our capital Bern, actually in the center of Switzerland. Gruyère, I think, is very famous all around the world because of the delicious cheese you can buy there. And on the right-hand side, we have an image of Zurich in summertime. As you can see, there is no snow at all. We have blue sky and it's beautiful weather. Just maybe nice for you guys to know, Switzerland, of course, doesn't have a sea or an ocean. So in summertime, if it's very hot, we swim in these rivers. This river, what you can see here, is the main river of Zurich. It's called Limmat. And the water temperature of the rivers can be up to 22 degrees in summertime. So it's really nice to swim in the rivers and in the lakes as well in Switzerland. Then we have, of course, the autumn picture with the beautiful colors. And wintertime as well with snow. In wintertime, you can find snow actually all around Switzerland, but mostly in the mountain areas. And then, of course, if you want to travel to Switzerland in summertime and you come to our country to see some snow, you can definitely find it somewhere, because there are places in Switzerland where we have this eternal snow, which means you can go skiing, for example, or have some fun in the snow, also on the 1st of August or the 31st of August. That's absolutely possible. So I know you guys have quite hot weather today in Singapore. I was just told it's about 30 degrees, maybe even a little bit warmer. Now, if you need to refresh a little bit and you would like next year to come to Switzerland at this time of the year, it's possible. You can find some snow in the mountains. So that's why this picture of this snowman with the sunshine. Then we would go season by season, just to go a little bit deeper into the temperatures and what we can do during these times of the year. So first of all, I think we would start with spring. In Switzerland, spring starts in March and finishes in May. So we have 3 months of spring in Switzerland. And this is actually a very nice time of the year to visit our country, because in Switzerland, it's not really high season yet. It's not really holiday season yet. So it's quite comfortable to travel around. It's not too crowded. The weather actually is quite good. It can be around 20 degrees more or less. In March a little bit colder, but April, May, most of the times we have already 20, 22 degrees. So it's comfortable to travel around. You don't have to take too many clothes. I mean, anyway, traveling to Switzerland, it's always important that you take with you a jacket, a good jacket, but it's not necessarily, if you do not want to go to the mountains and to the snow, to take your snow boots, for example, at this time of the year. That is not necessary, because the weather, as I said, the temperatures are quite good. What is nice things to do in springtime? Visit the mountains. Of course, the mountains are any season very beautiful to visit. We have collected here an image of Mount Pilatus, a very quite famous mountain in the Lucerne area. And that's a mountain where you can travel up by cable car and down by cogwheel train. Now we have collected this image of the mountains because mostly in April, May, that is where changes the schedule of these cable cars and these cogwheel trains. So then starts the summer season, which means these cable cars and these trains run quite often. You have them actually, you have every day the possibility to visit these mountains. In wintertime, sometimes some connections are closed, but in spring you can already really enjoy these mountains every day. Another nice thing, really nice thing to do in springtime is to visit villages and cities. We have collected here an image of Schaffhausen with the castle. And on the right-hand side, we can see an image of Lucerne. This is a very famous picture of Lucerne with Mount Pilatus in the back. And on the right-hand side, you can see the famous wooden chapel bridge. Now, this time of the year is very nice to visit these towns and villages because, as I said, it's not really holiday season yet, so it will not be overcrowded. And the weathers are like 22, 23 degrees in April, May is, I think, comfortable temperatures to walk around if you would like to do a kind of city trip or visit some towns. If you would like to enjoy the snow, that is possible as well, because most of the famous ski resorts are open until the end of March. Normally around Easter time they close. Easter time is normally at the end of March, halfway of April. So until then, you can definitely go skiing one day. Maybe you would like to try it out. That's a possibility as well in this season. That is the main activities I would recommend to do in Switzerland. In terms of the weather, as I said, quite comfortable temperatures. Of course, it always depends. If you go to mountains, if you go high up in the mountains, the temperatures are a little bit cooler. But if you stay in the cities, it's comfortable around 20 degrees, more or less.
Hey, thank you, Catharina. Folks, if you have any questions regarding spring season, do key them into the chat box and we will address them. And meanwhile, probably I would like to ask Oliver first. Yeah, what is the favorite thing about spring that you like to share with us? Any favorite moment?
Yes, definitely. Yes, spring is one of the really great seasons in Switzerland. When you consider just before it's winter time and maybe a little bit of information about the length of the days and the nights and the time or hours of sunshine we have in wintertime, the days are much shorter, which means it's the sunrise is about 8 o'clock maybe in the morning, and at 5 o'clock it's already dark. And then in spring, the days are getting longer. We also change the time, and then the sunrise is earlier, and it's also brighter until 8, 9 o'clock, which is maybe in summertime. So you have more of the day, and the temperatures are getting higher as well. As Catharina mentioned before, it's 20 plus. So after a long winter, it's nice to enjoy the fresh air. You go outside. All the Swiss people, they leave their houses. They want to enjoy the sunlight, the sunshine, the nice temperatures. And after being at home, eating a lot, you maybe want to exercise a little bit. So I always go for some easy exercise, like some easy cycling or hiking, not to the very high mountains, but some activity and breathe the fresh air, to see everything blooming. So that's quite energizing. And if I still feel like having some snow, then I can still go to the mountains to do some spring skiing, and I don't even have to bring my winter jacket, because up there the temperatures are getting a bit higher. And after skiing, usually the ski resorts or the slopes, they close at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon already. I still have time to go back to the city during sunlight, and I can dip my feet into the lakes or the rivers to cool down a little bit. So this combination of winter and summer feeling in one season, in spring, is perfect.
See. Okay, thank you, Oliver. How about you, Catharina?
Yeah, I actually agree on what Oliver is saying. And what I actually like most about spring in Switzerland is these flowers that you can see everywhere. I think some of you or many of you know these images of these wooden chalets from Switzerland, these wooden small, yeah, you can say small guest houses, small hotels. And then in springtime, they start putting the flowers outside on the balconies. That is something we can see here as well on the bridge in Lucerne.
Exactly. Yeah.
So these flowers are beautiful, whether you are in the mountains or you are in the cities. It gives a beautiful decoration to the town. So that's why I really, personally, I love to walk around just in Lucerne or in Zurich or in a smaller village, have a nice cup of coffee somewhere, and just enjoy the beautiful views that are surrounding me.
It also smells very fresh, you know.
Yes.
The flowers and the trees and everything. This is, you really soak up everything, and it gives you a lot of energy.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
Definitely.
sure. Yeah, so outdoor activities, the florals, the cool weather. Yeah, I think that's really what attracts people to Switzerland during spring. So I don't see any questions at this moment. Maybe they are still warming up. So we can move on to the next season.
Okay, then we go to summer. Summer season, also 3 months in Switzerland. Actually, we just finished the summer season right now, June, July, and August. Now, June, July, and August, mostly in the cities, tend to be quite warm months. I will not say we always meet the temperatures from Singapore, but we come close. This year we have had quite a lot of warm weeks, and for us warm, when I say warm, I mean like 30 to 35 degrees. So it's a little bit, a misunderstanding that many people think we have snow everywhere all the time. That's not the case. I mean, 30, 35 degrees is really nice warm for the Swiss citizens, for our, what we are used to. And therefore, it's nice in summertime to go up the mountains to cool down a little bit, because the higher you go, the cooler it gets. But what is interesting in summertime, and actually even all year long, is even if you go above 2,000 or 3,000 meters, you stand in the snow, you feel the sun, so you can be in shorts and in your t-shirts, standing right in the snow and feeling this warm, warm sunshine on your skin. That's a real amazing experience. Actually, imagine you standing in the snow with this cold feeling, and then you still have the nice warm sunshine on your skin. So that's something you cannot experience in so many countries in the world. In Switzerland, it's possible. What's also very nice to do in summertime is to do a ride, a boat trip on one of the lakes. We have so many lakes in Switzerland, over 1,500. Of course, on the major lakes, it's possible to do a boat trip. Then you can just enjoy the views, breathe the fresh air, maybe start at one side of the lake and then go until the other side of the lake by boat, walk around there, have a nice meal, and then maybe travel back by train or by vehicle or whatever you would like to do. So many possibilities. The summertime is also very nice to visit the glaciers. We have one image of a glacier here. This picture was taken in summertime. So you see on the top of the mountains, this is approximately 3,000 meters high. We don't have so much snow anymore. There is still a little bit. And then you can visit very well these glaciers because there is access to most of these glaciers during the summertime. In winter, not, because they are covered with snow, but in summertime, many of them you can visit, and it's just stunning views. It's amazing how you can see the power of the nature here in the mountains. So these are very nice things, I think, to do in summertime. Of course, you can go hiking as well, very well in summertime. Mostly if you are not so experienced and you would like to go walking in the mountains, then I recommend to do something like this in summer or in autumn, because you do not have too much snow, so it will not be too much slippery as well if you want to walk around. So that's something nice you can do in the summer. Of course, you do not have to walk up the mountain. Most of the times you can take a train or a cable car to the top of the mountain and then walk a little bit around, a panoramic walk where you have views all the time. For example, the picture on the left hand side, this is Mount Rigi, also in the area of Lucerne. You could travel up here by train, have a beautiful view over the Lake of Lucerne, have a nice meal on the terrace in the sun, and then go down again by cable car or by train or something like that. So these are beautiful things to do. In summertime, if you just stay in the cities, you definitely do not have to take too warm clothes. Of course, always a jacket, because sometimes it can rain, but it actually doesn't rain too much in summertime. So quite good temperatures, comfortable to visit. And always at the end of the day, as Oliver mentioned already a little bit, during the springtime, it's possible to swim a little bit in the lakes or to swim in the rivers. The water is usually very clean because most of the times the water comes from the mountains. Many of these lakes are formed by glaciers, former glaciers, so the water is fresh. And it's really nice to swim a little bit in these lakes. You can basically do that in any lake in Switzerland. So that for me is maybe the perfect day to go to the mountains by day, to see these beautiful views, have a nice lunch, and then in the afternoon, evening, go down the mountain and freshen up a little bit in the beautiful waters of Switzerland, and always surrounded by very nice views. I think that's it regarding the summertime.
Yeah. So Oliver, what is something that you really look forward to in summer, other than the weather being like Singapore?
Well, one thing that came to my mind just before, because also Catharina mentioned the swimming part, and you know, when it's hot and you need to cool down, jump in a lake or in a river is really something amazing. And I actually did that quite often when I was living in Switzerland and working in the city of Zurich. My office was just next to the lake, really like 50 meters. And sometimes even during the lunch break, when I wanted to cool down a bit, I just went to the lake, jumped in, had my lunch and went back to work. And in the evening, because the days are also longer, to meet friends. After a swim, you can do a barbecue at the lakeside. You can prepare your Swiss veal sausage or something like that. This is fantastic and something that I really miss at the moment. And one special thing about swimming in the lakes, or actually in the rivers, is when you look at the map of the city of Bern, our capital, the old town is like a peninsula. So the river goes in a U shape around the capital, and people really swim in this lake. And because of the current that is not very, very strong, but strong enough, you can just float. So you're in the water, cooling down, floating around the capital while watching at the House of Parliament. Tell me another capital in the world where you can do that. And this is really, it's something amazing. And by the way, while floating, you can even see some real bears, because it goes along the bear park where we have some real alive bears walking around. So this is definitely something I could recommend right now.
Oh, that is really an amazing experience, huh?
And don't you worry, the bears will not come to the river. They have their own swimming area, so they will not come. So don't you worry about that.
We were actually hoping for the bears to come and swim with us.
Well, then have your camera ready.
How about you, Catharina?
Yeah, it's same. I mean, for me, in summertime, the perfect day is starting up in the mountains and walk around there and do a panoramic walk to see these beautiful views, because in summertime you have really far away views. You have very, very good sight. So you can see these lakes, you can see the other mountains, you can see really what is underneath you. And I really personally enjoy that a lot. Have a nice lunch maybe on top of the mountain, then go down and as Oliver mentioned, yeah, to go swimming in one of the lakes or just sit along the lake or make a nice walk there. Or maybe take the boat and cross the lake for an evening cruise and see the sunset. That is something beautiful to do. So that's, yeah, definitely around the lake areas in Switzerland, I would spend a lot of time in summertime.
Maybe just a fun fact and an informational fact from my side that just comes from my mind as well, because we're talking about swimming and the water. So it might happen that while you're swimming, you might open your mouth and then some water comes into, you start drinking the water. But this is not an issue at all, because the water in our lakes is so clear that it has actually drinking water quality. And all over Switzerland, when you see some fountains and with a tap, you can take the water from there free of charge and refill your bottle. So you have free drinks during your whole stay in Switzerland. Mm-hmm. And you can always stay hydrated, because this is quite important in summertime. And other informational fact, because Catharina mentioned the lakes, the boats, if you feel like taking a boat ride, and the trains before, in case you're interested to use boats and trains on a regular basis, and you don't want to bother about getting tickets every time you enter a boat or a train, maybe there a good tip from my side that you can purchase a Swiss Travel Pass, which is one ticket that allows you to travel on boats, buses, trains for a certain time, and there's unlimited rides. So you have one ticket and it's valid for the whole public transportation system in Switzerland. Mm-hmm. So this is quite useful. So you don't have to, and you don't even have to tap in, tap out like you have to do it in Singapore. So you just have to buy the ticket. It has a validation date for 4 days, for 8 days. And then you just have to have it with you. You don't have to validate again. Once it's validated, you just have to have it on you, and you can use all the public transportation. So quite convenient.
Yeah, definitely true.
Yeah, the Swiss Travel Pass, as well as the transportation, the world-renowned transportation system in Switzerland, is a very, very big topic to talk about. So we will try to plan for it one of these days and keep you informed. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on with the next season.
Yeah, the next season, which has started actually, well, yesterday, I could say, September, October, November, are autumn in Switzerland. And autumn is just beautiful because of the change of colors of the leaves. So the leaves starting, or the trees starting to lose their leaves, but first the colors of these leaves change. So if you look around right now in Switzerland, you can see everywhere green, orange, yellow, red, brown. It's just amazing. It gives such a beautiful view to the country. Like in summer or in springtime, we have these flowers. Now in autumn, we have these changes of colors, and that's just marvelous. So once again, what can you do in autumn time? Autumn is still very good, actually. The temperature, I mean, today, autumn just started and it's in Switzerland about 22 degrees. So I could say the beginning of autumn is a little bit like spring. Then when you go towards October, November, the temperatures drop down and you can expect temperatures between around 10 degrees, more or less. Sometimes in the morning a little bit lower. During the day it can be even up to 18 degrees still, but that depends a little bit on where you are and on how the weather is at that specific day. But mostly for autumn, count with temperatures between 10 degrees up to 18 maximum, and in November in the mornings they are usually a little bit colder, around 6-7 degrees more or less. Now what you can do, you can still do a lot of things in autumn time. It's a very nice time actually to be outside. Once again, we mentioned the mountains because of these beautiful views and these beautiful colors you have. Personally, I like to go to the mountains at any time of the year because it's just an experience here in Switzerland. But maybe the best time of the year to visit the mountains is actually the autumn time because of these beautiful views and because of these beautiful colors that you have. Then a part of that, something nice to do, of course, in autumn time is to see the wine, the grapes harvest, or to do some wine tasting. For example, in the area of Geneva, Lavaux, a little bit towards the north of the Lake of Geneva, there is a very nice area where you can do some walks in the vineyards, where you can see the harvest, where you can do some wine tasting, maybe combined with a nice cheese, for example, if you would like. So that is something beautiful to do in that area. That's also where this picture is taken here on the right-hand side. This is the Lake of Geneva with this area Lavaux. Yeah, as I said, in autumn, it's good to take a little bit of warmer jacket with you because the temperatures drop down. So you have to be prepared for quite a rapid change of temperatures. That's why we also recommend to maybe take a t-shirt and a pullover, for example, that you can take off your pullover when it gets warm or when you feel the sunshine, then you can take it off. On the terraces in autumn, most of the times the restaurants have some kind of covers, so you can still sit outside on the terraces, enjoy maybe your fondue, your cheese dish, or something else, but you can be nice, warmly covered with one of the covers that actually the restaurants would give you. So that's regarding the autumn time. I'm actually very much looking forward to this season right now because it's personally my favorite time of the year.
It's time to have some good wines, yeah?
Yes, exactly.
Definitely.
And later on a little bit maybe hot chocolate.
Yeah, so Oliver, this year you can't actually go back for autumn.
Yeah.
Anything that you miss greatly?
Yeah, I mean, you see it on the picture there with this glass of wine and the cheese in the middle of the vineyard. I mean, this is really something I really miss. And usually when I go to Switzerland, doesn't matter what season I'm going, I always bring some Swiss cheese and some Swiss wine back to Singapore. Maybe a lot of people, they are not aware that Switzerland grows excellent wine. The problem is we are not exporting it too much because we keep the good stuff for ourselves in Switzerland. There are possibilities to get some Swiss wine in Singapore actually, but if you really want to have the most exclusive, but still for a very decent price, go to Switzerland and try it. And the picture you see here on the slide in the Lavaux region, which is actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the vineyards, there you have a lot of wine growers. They have their little huts in the vineyard, and you can visit them. It's like their wine cellar. So you can meet the wine grower himself or herself. They can organize a wine tasting for you, and of course they are proud of presenting their wine. And while you try the wine that grows just around you, and you can overlook the lake, you see the mountains, you have some cold cuts, some cheese. This is really the holiday feeling, and very authentic holiday feeling that comes up. And I never miss that. And September, end of September is definitely a fantastic time for that, and also my recommended time to travel there. The days are still long, the light is good, you can take perfect pictures, the weather is quite stable. Yeah, definitely one of the best seasons or the best moments to visit Switzerland. Yeah.
So I was basically in Switzerland with Oliver last September, and I asked him this question: why is it that in our region we cannot find Swiss wine? And I tasted the wine and I liked it. So I asked him why can't we find it here? Why aren't the Swiss exporting it? So he says that because you guys are enjoying it so much that you don't want to export it, or you don't have enough to export.
We are a small country, you know, and the area where we can grow wine is limited because up in the mountains, in the Alps, the climate is not good enough. So it's along the lakes, is an altitude here of about, let's say, 400 or 500 meters where we grow our wines. And yeah, it's really so good. So it's precious to us. So we love to share, but we share it in Switzerland.
So remember, when you are in Switzerland, please get some bottles of Swiss wines to try and even bring back to Singapore. Okay? Yeah, Catharina?
Yeah.
How
I
about
would
you?
say that's
What are you
one
looking
more,
forward to?
yeah, I would say that's one more good reason to come to Switzerland to try this wine, because it's actually the only place on earth where you can try it. So yeah, that's true what Oliver said. And then of course take some home as well for your friends and family. That's always a nice souvenir or a nice gift. As I said, for me the same. Actually, what Oliver mentioned already, to have a nice glass of wine, to be surrounded really by these vineyards and these fantastic views with these colors. That's just the ultimate holiday feeling. We do not have to go far away to just relax, have this water, have these beautiful views. That's really not necessary. We have it actually all here in Switzerland. So yes, this is the Lake Geneva area. Also in the north of the country, we produce wines. Maybe nice to mention, mostly white wines in the north of the country, the area of Schaffhausen, for example, where the waterfalls, the Rhine falls are. That's definitely also a very nice area in the country to go in autumn time, because you could visit these waterfalls, for example, and then actually next door can be organized a wine tasting as well. So there are plenty of possibilities. And yeah, I actually also like very much the cozy feeling of still sitting outside in a nice restaurant. Eat fondue maybe, because fondue is a quite heavy dish, a cheese dish.
Yeah.
Typical Swiss, and it's very nice to eat this in autumn time outside on the terrace, covered with these nice covers, so you can stay warm even if it gets a little bit colder in the evenings, and enjoy a nice typical Swiss meal. So that's definitely something I'm going to do and enjoy these months.
Okay, so I don't think we have any questions for autumn, or maybe they are leaving the best for the last. Yeah, so let's move on to the next season. Oh, what is the average price for wine? Asked by Nini.
Well, you will be surprised. Way cheaper than in Singapore. So
it's not expensive, like somebody
you can
said.
get a decent bottle of white wine for, let's say, $20, which is about 14, 15 Swiss francs. So 20 Sing dollars, you can get a good, tasty wine. Of course, the sky is the limit. You also find some way more expensive wines, but let's say the average good, not a bit above the average wine, is for $20 you get something good.
Yeah, it's true. That's actually quite interesting that you mentioned that, Oliver, and also this what was mentioned at the beginning in the chat, that Switzerland has a little bit a reputation of being an expensive country. We are aware of that, but it is not necessarily always the case. It depends a lot on where you go. So that's why it's good, I think, we doing this kind of web session, because if you speak to locals and people who know their way around, of course, if you go to the main touristic places, sometimes you have to pay a little bit more, which is the same everywhere in the world. But Switzerland can be affordable to everybody. You just have to look for the correct places and maybe know the correct agency to work with or the correct persons to speak with. And then you can definitely enjoy it also a little bit more lower cost. That is definitely possible. So yes, the price of a bottle of wine, 14, 15 francs. I understand 20 Singaporean dollars. Yeah.
Nene is saying that in Chile, they also have very good wines.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
You have fantastic red wine there, I would say.
Yeah.
But our white wine is better.
Okay.
Come and try it. Come and try it out. Yeah.
I think it's unique in their own ways, yeah?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, any more questions? If not, we will move on to winter.
Good, then we have the winter season, 3 months. December, January and February. Actually, the winter starts a little bit later than what many people tend to think. It's December, January, February, and Switzerland, of course, is very famous for the winter sports season at this time of the year. So if you like, you can go skiing, you can go ice skating, you can go snowboarding, but it's definitely not the only thing you can do in wintertime in Switzerland. How about, for example, on the left-hand side, you can see here a beautiful wellness center. This one is located in the area of Mount Rigi. This picture was taken in summertime, but we have collected this image here because Switzerland is very famous for wellness in wintertime. Now, you do not have to book a full week of wellness holidays, but with wellness we mean, imagine to be in this warm pool, 37, 38 degrees, for example, and outside it's -2, -3, it's snowing. So you have this difference of temperature, you are nice, warm in the water, and you have the snowfall surrounded, or you are surrounded by this snowfall. So that is something very romantic and very beautiful to do in wintertime. You must imagine that the green field that you see here on this picture is then covered with snow. So it would be completely white. It gives a very nice, I think already Christmas atmosphere. And that's something else what is very nice to do in wintertime. We have a strong tradition of Christmas markets and Christmas decoration. In all the country, actually, in the bigger cities, the bigger towns like Zurich, Lucerne, and also the Montreux area, which is not so far away from Geneva, you can find these typical Christmas markets where they sell decoration, where you can drink the nice warm glühwein, which definitely tastes different when you are in a colder country than when you are in a warm place. So that is something beautiful you can do in wintertime in Switzerland as well. Snow you can find everywhere, actually, in wintertime, although in the big cities, Zurich, for example, and Lucerne, it's only about 10 days, a year more or less, that the snow really remains. So it can happen, for example, that in the evening it's snowing, and then the next day in the morning when you wake up, the snow disappears. This happens in the cities. When you go to the mountains above 2,000 meters in wintertime, you will definitely find some snow. Now, it's really not necessary only to go skiing or ice skating. It's also possible in Switzerland if you just want to go for the experience and you experience 1 day of skiing, for example, although you have never done it before. That is something you can do. There are nice packages, nice courses you could do. You would get all the equipment here in Switzerland directly, and you could go just for a 1-day experience skiing with a professional teacher, and they would just explain you how everything works. So you can have really this winter feeling. This is something you can do already also in November. I understand that November is an important month for Singaporean people to travel. Now, if you would like to have this experience, this snowboarding experience, if you would like to try that out, you can do that also already in November. So the time of the year that for you is more convenient maybe to travel because of the holidays, that's something you could really do. And then at the end of the day, maybe to take a nice, or to jump into a pool like this, to relax a little bit in the spa, in the wellness center, surrounded by these beautiful views, and finish your day like that. Maybe again with a nice glass of Swiss wine, who knows. Mountains are nice to visit in wintertime as well. As I said, there is more snow on top of the mountain, so you can just go up with the cable car, enjoy the views, and come down again, for example. That's absolutely possible, and maybe make a snowman at 3,000 meters. That's possible, and also in wintertime, most of the times, it's definitely possible to stay even in your short sleeve shirts and feel the sun on your skin, because above like 3,000 meters, many times you are above the clouds. So you feel this sun, you feel the sunshine, you're standing in the snow, you feel the sunshine, and that's definitely a unique experience. That's something very nice to do in wintertime. Regarding the temperatures, a little bit colder most of the times than in autumn. So you must think around, I would say around 2-3 degrees, sometimes a little bit warmer, up to 8-10 degrees it can be. but the average temperature, yeah, I would say between 5, 6, 7 degrees, more or less. Also depending again on where you go, because if you go really high up in the mountains, it can be even -20 or -25. So in wintertime, if you really go high in the mountains, it would be recommendable to take a good jacket with you. If you don't have it, and you want still to go up the mountains, don't worry, because at most of the places you can also rent nice warm jackets, and you can rent nice boots. So you don't have to overpack your suitcase. Many things are possible. If you don't need them in Singapore, you actually don't have to buy it just for your trip to Switzerland. You can rent it here for 1 day or 2 days, whatever would be convenient for you, and still enjoy these mountain experiences. That, I think, regarding wintertime, as Oliver mentioned already, the days are shorter. So sunrise 8 o'clock in the morning, more or less, and it gets dark around 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But that's actually very nice for visiting these Christmas markets and seeing this Christmas decoration, because you can really enjoy it a long time. Imagine, it is dark already at 5 o'clock in the evening, so you can walk around in the city, visit this market, have a nice glühwein, or maybe a hot chocolate, something that's definitely nice to experience. So you have a long evening to explore these many Christmas markets. They're really very, very nice, very romantic atmosphere.
Great. Okay, while we are still waiting for the questions to come in, I think we have a couple already. Oliver, what do you think what are the activities that the Swiss likes to do other than the snow activities in winter? Anything that you particularly look forward to?
Yeah, well, winter is really, it's mainly about snow. Swiss people are in general quite active. They love the outdoors. They love to go to the mountains when there is some fresh snow. They love skiing. They like sledging or ice skating, or all different types of activities in the snow, on the snow, under the snow. Maybe under is when you go and sleep in an igloo, for example, or you visit a glacier cave or something like that. Well, that you can also do in summertime. But you don't need to have any experience with the snow activities, because as Catharina said, you can rent the gear, the stuff, the equipment. There are some instructors. They could teach you how to ski, even though you never did that before. It's in the beginners area, just to get used to the skis, to the ski boots, how to walk, how to move. That's really something. And it's also all about, in Christmas time or the pre-Christmas season, it's about gathering, meeting people, having good dinners, having good lunch, heavy traditional stuff, a lot of cheese, a lot of meat, very heartwarming food, let's put it that way. And the romantic atmosphere in the cities, when all the buildings, or most of the buildings, the main parts of the cities are illuminated, it really gives a complete different atmosphere than in summer or in spring. And yeah, standing in the city center, watching at those Christmas stalls and the illuminated buildings, have this mulled wine, it's a brown paper bag full of the roasted chestnuts. This is something like a childhood memory, not the mulled wine, of course, but the chestnuts with good friends. That's something you shouldn't miss. And one thing I tried myself last winter, it was really the spa that Catharina mentioned we have here on the left-hand side. I was really there in this particular pool, and on the right-hand side, it was full of snow. So you could actually leave the pool. The temperature of the water is about 36, 37 degrees. You can go outside. The temperature is 5 degrees. You can make some snowballs, throw it at someone. And then once your feet are getting cold and your hands are cold, you just jump back into the warm water. This is like being newborn. This is definitely recommendable, also for non-swimmers.
Yeah, definitely. And a part of pleasant, it's also very good for your health.
It is. The hot cold is good for the blood circulation.
Yeah.
Okay, we do have some questions. The first one from Katie asking, are there any impact from global warming on the Alpine mountains? And is it warmer than before?
Yeah, let's put it that way. When I was a kid, let's say about 35 years ago, I lived in Zurich. In wintertime, we could build our snowman in front of the house and our little igloo in front of the house, and it remained there for several weeks. And now this is not possible anymore. There is not much snow in the cities anymore. The snow, how to call it, the snowfall, the altitude where we have guaranteed snow is going up a little bit. So in maybe early mid-September, there is not yet that much snowfall, but the temperatures are still quite low. And in the mountain areas, I mean, the temperatures can still be -10, -20 degrees. So there is all over the world a little impact, but we still have snow, and skiing and snow activities are still possible.
Yeah.
Even in Singapore, we are affected by global warming.
Yeah,
during the non-rain season, we get the rain coming. Yeah, and we get extremely hot weather. Yeah, so these are all signs of a global warming that we do not want to see, but unfortunately, we are all experiencing it all over the world.
Exactly.
Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Katie. We have another question from Bunsan asking, are there any fireworks display during the Christmas period?
Fireworks typically in Switzerland is more towards the end of the year. And most of the times, for example, here in Zurich, it's organized directly by the government, so by the city hall. So there is an area in Zurich which is near the lake, actually very beautiful, that is really reserved then for this official fireworks party, we could say. It takes about, it's the night from 31 of December until the 1st of January. And it is then fireworks for about 20 minutes, half an hour. But official fireworks in Zurich, you must imagine, for example, that they shoot the fireworks from the boats. So the boats are on the lakes. You have most of the times they have 3 different ones, and they make really a very beautiful fireworks show, really from these boats in the middle of the lakes until the sky. And that is just marvelous because it's like a small amphitheater. You must imagine that the people are standing on the coast watching these fireworks. So it's not dangerous at all because they shoot it really in the water area, not where the people are. And it's just beautiful to watch this. So that they do in several cities, 31 to the 1st of January. Yeah.
Okay, so for those who enjoys fireworks and the Christmas season, so that is one good season you can actually travel to enjoy the authentic experience of Christmas, the snow, the festive mode, as well as the firework on the end of the year. Yeah, also we have the one more question from Josephine Wong, asking any interesting festivals in Switzerland?
There are a lot of festivals all over the year, not only during the winter season. But this would be probably a bit too much to list now all the festivals. But of course, let's say in fall, in autumn, there are a lot of harvesting festivals, food festivals, wine festivals. In wintertime, it's more Christmas related with all these Christmas markets where you get all those handicraft stuff and food and drinks and gathering with people. There are sport events, there are cultural events like a Montreux Jazz Festival in summertime. There are traditional events, like the Alpine, the descent of the cows, when the cows come back from the Alps. This is a very authentic celebration, also with the traditional music, the yodeling and the Alphorn blowers and the flag throwers and all that. If you have a particular season where you're looking for some festivals, I suggest that you can get in touch with Ming, and he can double check with us and we can give some suggestions, or you can just visit the website myswitzerland.com, and there is a list of all festivals, and you can filter by the time of the year, by the type of events, and then you can find whatever you want, whether it's food related, cultural, or whatever.
Yeah, and generally many of the cities also organize their own typical traditional festivals. Sometimes they only take place 1 day or 2 days, or a weekend, for example, like a street parade where everybody dresses up. We have music festivals, as Oliver mentioned, food festivals, and so on. So we have some that are in all the country. The carnivals, for example, take place as well in many of the cantons. And then per city, there are several events organized throughout the year. Many events outdoors take place from April until October, apart from the Christmas markets, because that's a good time of the year to be really outside.
Sure. Okay, so do we still have any more questions?
Yeah, about shopping.
Oh yeah, we have a question on shopping. How is the shopping experience in Switzerland?
I would say fantastic, but maybe Catharina, as a woman, maybe you are more into shopping than me as a man, because I only buy wine and cheese and veal sausages to bring back to Singapore. But yes, I mean, there is, in Switzerland, you have also 2-3 outlets where we can get some fantastic stuff, but also in the cities, in the city centers. I mean, we have our shopping areas, usually also in the city centers for the Singaporeans. We have our own Orchard Road, where you can get all the great brands for watches, for handbags, for whatever your heart desires. And yeah, you can claim the taxes, and then it's cheaper than in Singapore.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's precisely it. I mean, there are plenty of possibilities, whether you are in Zurich, you are in Geneva, you are in Interlaken, you can find really everything you would like to buy. And of course, also these typical Swiss brands. If you would like to take a souvenir home, a Swiss watch, or a Swiss knife, or the typical Swiss chocolates. And there are also chocolate factories, for example, where you could go directly and maybe make your own chocolate even and take it back home. So there are really a lot of shopping possibilities. Yeah, in Zurich, for example, we have this Bahnhofstrasse, that is the name of the main shopping street. It's approximately 1.5 kilometers long, and you find everything there. So luxury brands, but also for a little bit more modest budget, you can really find everything.
Maybe compared to Singapore, in Switzerland, we don't have those big malls. When you try to find a mall, as we know it here in Singapore, you will not find it. We have some shopping centers, but they are way smaller. But in the shopping areas, like the street that Catharina just mentioned, you have more like the one little shop after another. So the watch brand has its own shop, and the handbag store has its own shop. So, but it's really like a hawker center for shops, let's put it that way. So one shop after another. And there is also the question about the opening hours, night markets. We don't have that. But in the big cities, shops can be open until about 9 o'clock in the evening, 8 to 9. They can decide whenever they want to close, actually. But maybe good to know, usually on Sundays, the shops are closed. In some touristic areas where the village or the town really lives from the tourism, like an Interlaken or a Zermatt, there you also have shops that are open on Sunday. But if you go to Zurich Bahnhofstrasse, the Orchard Road of Zurich, on Sunday, the shops are closed. It's empty.
Yeah, except maybe the pre-Christmas shopping.
Yes, that's
the
true.
time of the year when you would like to travel, the Singaporeans. There are usually 3 to 4 Sundays before the Christmas starts that you can go shopping also on Sundays. That's usually end of November and December.
The so-called Sunday shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good input. Yeah, that's true.
And many times the 2nd of January is a day where you will find a lot of discounts wherever you go. Many of the shops, they after the Christmas periods, they have their discounts. They want to sell the leftovers, to say like that. But you can find really nice stuff, and you have very good discounts. Usually, this happens the 2nd of January.
Sure.
A little bit of Boxing Day, to say like that.
All Asians love discount.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah.
So remember, 2nd of January, yeah? That's a very important
I know
date.
this date as well.
But you probably see a Catharina there as well.
Yeah.
Okay, one more question for Zena. She's asking if there's any cottage or farm stay experience in Switzerland.
Yes, there are. There are possibilities to stay on a farm, to sleep there. You can even experience or help the farmers. Yeah. You can make your own cheese. You can help them to milk the cow. You can do some fun activities. You can sleep in the straw. So you get like in some places you get like your sleeping bag, and then you make yourself comfortable in the straw and in the hay. So that's actually quite a popular experience for families. Yeah. And something, because I know Singaporeans, we are foodies, we like some good food. They have this so-called Swiss tavolata. These are the wives of the farmers. They produce, they cook dinners or lunches for visitors. So they cook everything from scratch with their own products. And you can visit them at the farm and have a real authentic traditional dinner. So this is also something, if you don't feel like staying overnight, but you just want to have this authentic rural experience, you can do that. But it's also nice if you have a family and you have kids and you want to see the animals and you want to touch the cows and the goats and the rabbits, then you can do that all over Switzerland.
Okay, thank you, Oliver. And I hope that helps answer your question, Zena. So we are a little bit overrun on the time. Today we are not operating on Swiss time. We are operating on Singapore time. Yeah. So, Catharina, do you have any more things you want to share?
Yeah, I hope we could give a good first introduction about Switzerland. And I hope that our audience has enjoyed this information about the 4 seasons. And I think what Oliver mentioned, if there are any particular questions, of course, to get maybe in touch directly with Ming, and we would be delighted to help and answer further questions as well, or maybe other topics you would like to listen about. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, we have a little poll here just to check on your travel sentiments. And I think we have quite a number of people who says that, yes, definitely Switzerland is on their bucket list once the borders are opened.
And yeah, also if you need some additional information, we are, as National Tourist Board of Switzerland, we are based here in Singapore. So we are here. If you have any questions, you can visit our website, myswitzerland.com. There you see all the contact details. So you can give us a call, or you can just drop by at the Swiss Embassy. If you need some brochures or whatever, we can provide that for you. So don't be shy and just approach us or approach Julian and Ming for further information. They're certified Switzerland experts, so they know what they're talking about.
So basically, if you have any, let's say, requests or requirements, such as Zena saying that you want to have authentic farm stay experience, we can actually customize all this experience for you to make sure that they are included in your itinerary, and then basically plan the entire program for you based on what you like, what are your interests, and what kind of traveling dates you have available. Yeah. So as much as we want to cover a lot of information in one session, we only have about 1 hour. So do tune in to our next session, which is on the 16th of September. Same timing, also a Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. We will have we will be basically talking about the best mountains to visit in Switzerland. Okay, so do stay in touch with us through the Facebook, our Facebook Topliners Club. And also our webinars will basically be uploaded onto YouTube as well. Our YouTube channel is also Topliners Club channel. Yep, so those are the replays that you can actually see if you missed out any information. Yeah. If not, yeah, we saw the poll result. 13% say yes, definitely they want to be there. So I will see you guys there next year, yeah?
Yeah. We will be at Zurich Airport to welcome you with open arms.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you very much, Catharina and Oliver, for sharing with us your precious comments and also your experience from being in Switzerland as well as Singapore. And then thank you everyone for spending your precious night with us. And I hope you guys have fun and you guys had very good information from this session. And please stay tuned and get more information from us in subsequent sessions. Yeah. Thank you.